Hello, this is Davis Kim from eabyNews. Nice to meet you, everyone. So this time we are going to talk about what's Viva Tech, Europe's biggest startup event. We are going to talk about that event and why it's important for startups around the world, and we want to give some shared feedback for startups in Korea. Today I am with Clément Metharam. That's right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So Clément Metharam, he's an advisor for innovation and advanced technologies at the Department of Global Partnership Startups for KISET. Nice to meet you.
Bonjour, Davis. Thank you for receiving me.
Bonjour. Yeah. So could you please, before we start conversation about the Viva Tech, could you introduce yourself and what does your company do?
Yeah, I know it's a bit confusing, a French guy working for a Korean organization. 저는 클레몽입니다.
Yeah.
My name is Clément. I work for the KISET, the Korean Institute for Startup Entrepreneurship Development, which is under the Korean Ministry of Startup and SMEs. My job, I have two missions indeed. My job is to support Korean startup to go abroad and also to help foreign entrepreneurs to set up in Korea with the Global Startup which I am the Chief Partner Officer. So both mission, inbound, outbound, and I'm here for the bridge between the Korean ecosystem and foreign startup ecosystem.
Because you're in a really vital and crucial position, and as well as your organization for the Korean startup ecosystem. So hope you're doing well with that. So.
Yes, I'm the helper. I try to help.
Yeah. So we are going to move on details about the Viva Tech. So first of all, what is Viva Tech? So I know it's like the biggest European startup show, but could you be more specific about the event?
Viva Tech is nowadays one of the biggest, or the biggest in Europe. Of course, we have the CES in the USA, but it's a bit different from Viva Tech. And Viva Tech today is one of the biggest startup event. It's really focused on open innovation startups, and it happens in Paris each year. Now I think it's the 8th or 9th edition, because in few years it will be the 10th anniversary. So it's a great event for startups and connecting with the European ecosystem. It's not because it's in France that it's a French event. It's in France because it's Paris, wonderful city, but it's a real European, even European, you have Middle East and also African countries, African companies that are present at this event.
So it seems that Korea was selected as the Nation of the Year in Viva Tech.
Yes.
And this year, which is Japan. So why some Nation of the Year exactly?
So in 2022, it was India. It was the first time that Viva Tech created the concept of Country of the Year. Because this event is a big opportunity for whatever country to show to the face of the world what is the country ecosystem, what they offer, what they bring as technology. So last year in 2023, it was Korea, Country of the Year. And we wanted to say, okay, look, Korea, you have on the top of K-pop, K-content, K-culture, K-drama, semiconductors. Show us what is the real startup ecosystem. Show us that you are a startup nation. That's why they accepted the challenge. I say challenge because it's very, very challenging to be Country of the Year. You have to show that you can sustain. It's very important. So it was a great event. This year it was Japan. So you can see the focus on Asia and showing that innovation, startup ecosystem is growing in Asia.
Sounds great. So other than Japan being a Nation of the Year in Viva Tech 2024, what are the main issues of this event?
This year, as 2024 is the Olympic Games in Paris, it was linked about sports, esports, tech in sports, sports in tech, and also the trend words, as I say, AI, climate change, green tech, AI in green tech in AI, those sectors, those fields. That is very important, and it's the occasion to show, okay, you are a startup, you have a solution, disruptive solution, come to Viva Tech. Because when you see the big tech event, you have the CES, it's more dedicated to like an opening ceremony or launching new product, like Samsung does. On the Mobile World Congress too, it was more dedicated on the phone mobile ecosystem. Web Summit is more open sectors, and Slush is more dedicated with the VCs. That's why Viva Tech, it's the occasion to show the innovation and the open innovation programs too. Because what is important is this event is for startups, dedicated on startups, but you have big groups also like L'Oréal, LVMH, showing that they are open innovation companies, not only shampoo producers or fancy purse producers.
So could you appeal startups around the world and other SMEs why they need to exhibit on Viva Tech and what's so unique about it?
As I said, because of those big guys like L'Oréal, LVMH, you don't see them in other events. You have, as it's in France, you have big French companies, CMA, CGM, which is not so famous all around the world, but sometimes you can see containers with CMA, CGM logo. It's now one of the top 5 logistic company is a French, based in Marseille, in the south of France. You have L'Oréal, as I mentioned, LVMH, all the big bank, European big bank. So you have a rich ecosystem. And why I talk about LVMH and L'Oréal is you don't expect them at this kind of event. LVMH now is a co-partner of Viva Tech, and they launch at this event the LVMH Innovation Award. It shows that they are just not a simple company, they are innovative company. They use this event to show, look, to stay on the top, we need to innovate. And it's not part of our DNA. LVMH is doing drinks, purse, watches, and so on. So you're a startup, you have a solution to our challenges. Come, apply, and welcome. So also for L'Oréal, they show about sustainable products, sustainable packaging, how to access all those innovation came through startups, because big corporate, it's very slow, very big, and they are not maybe agile. So that's why they are targeting startups and asking startups come and solve our problems.
I see. So what's Viva Tech's plan for the future?
I think, as I'm not Viva Tech organizer, I don't know, but the idea is still growing, and still be the best place in Europe for exhibiting about startup and innovation.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing, in my opinion. It's expanding beyond Europe, and it's going to be one of the biggest startup events in the world in general.
And it's still an accessible one. I mean, I've been in the US for CES. CES is great, it's America, nice, but it's too big.
And it's party going.
It's very big. I mean, if you need to do your 6,000 steps a day, you will do it in 2 hours there. Like Mobile World Congress or Viva Tech, they are more closer, and you have an easily access to big companies. I mean, our booth with the Korean pavilion, with the Kised, was just behind LVMH booth, so we had access to many decision makers of LVMH, Christian Dior, Louis Vuitton, and so on. That was amazing for our startups. They were just crossing the street, they have big decision makers.
Yeah, I see. Okay, so to conclude this interview, is there anything you want to share with Korean startups and other startups around the world?
Don't be shy, Korean startups. Come, but if you exhibit, come with a strategy, because I can understand sometimes for Korean startups, Europe, they see Europe as a big thing, but for some of them, Lisbon, London, Cracovia, or Malmö is the same thing, same market. It's not. So you have to prepare, focus, prepare a business plan. I repeat, business plan with a strategy for 2-3 years, and prepare your B2B meetings before the exhibition, but it's whatever exhibition, but in this case in Europe, prepare your B2B meetings before, and be prepared also to have unexpected meetings. I remember we have great companies that I can't mention the name, but big companies that came from, oh, Korea, what do you have to offer? And you discover after the meeting that it was the CEO of the company or the CTO. Like, God, I talked to them. I remember the current startup Aslip talked to big guys from AXA, which is an insurance company. Like, wow, it was that decided. Like, okay. So also, third thing, Korean companies prepare, improve your pitch, your startup pitch, your pitch elevator, because the guys are just crossing the exhibition. So work on your mirror, like a job interview. You have to be quick, clear, and efficient. So each time prepare your explanation in 3 points, what makes the difference, why your solution is innovative, and how it will solve the company problems. What is difficult, I can understand, because you have many European companies that are unknown in Korea. Inverse, like Lotte is not famous in Europe, or GS is not famous. We know only LG, Samsung, Hyundai. So that's why make a market, study your market. It's very important to be efficient.
Yeah, thanks for your encouragement and advice and answers about the Viva Tech. So thank you so much, and I hope more startups will be more interested in participating in Viva Tech next year. Well, thank you so much.
감사합니다.
감사합니다. Thank you.